Come here now, and let me tell you something that the retirement industry doesn't want you to know. They'll have you believing that a decent retirement requires either a fortune or a compromise, that you'll spend your golden years either broke in paradise or comfortable in some grey suburban wasteland. But here's the truth they're hiding, and I'm giving it to you free of charge. The southeast of Ireland, that sunny corner that everyone drives through on the way to somewhere else, contains retirement havens so perfect, so affordable, and so unknown that you'll wonder why anyone retires anywhere else. These aren't the famous spots. These are the secret ones, the places where clever people have been quietly living their best retirement years, while the rest of the world overpays for mediocrity. So subscribe and let's start. Number 10, Graiguenamanagh, County Kilkenny. We begin in a town whose name most people can't pronounce, which is precisely why it remains unspoiled. Graiguenamanagh, and yes, it's a mouthful, but the locals just call it Graig, sits where the River Barrow forms the border between Kilkenny and Carlow. This is a town of around 1,500 souls, ancient stone buildings, and a pace of life that retired people dream about but rarely find. The centrepiece of Graig is Duisce Abbey, a Cistercian monastery founded in 1204 that still functions as the parish church. Imagine that for your Sunday routine. While Dublin retirees queue for overpriced brunch, you're attending Mass in an 800-year-old abbey where monks once walked and where the stonework tells stories older than most countries. The abbey grounds are immaculate, maintained by a community that takes genuine pride in their heritage. But let's talk about what matters for retirement, the practical details. Property prices in Graiguenamanagh average around €140,000 for a 3-bedroom house. That's not a typo, and it's not a ruin. That's a habitable, comfortable family home in a town with everything you need. The town has a medical centre with 2 general practitioners, a pharmacy, 3 grocery shops, multiple pubs and restaurants, and a community centre that runs activities specifically designed for older residents. The River Barrow is navigable, part of the Barrow Line canal system that connects to the Grand Canal, and ultimately to Dublin. Retirees with boats, or those who acquire them after moving, can cruise for hundreds of kilometres through the Irish Midlands without ever reaching the sea. But even without a boat, the riverside walks are magnificent. The Barrow Way walking trail passes directly through town, offering flat, easy paths perfect for daily exercise without the joint punishment of hill climbing. Healthcare access is better than you might expect for a small town. Kilkenny City, with St. Luke's Hospital and all specialist services, is only 25 minutes by car. Waterford, with a larger regional hospital, is 40 minutes in the other direction. You're never far from medical care, but you're living in a place where you might need it less because the stress of modern life simply doesn't reach here. The community aspect deserves particular mention. Graiguenamanagh has an active retirement association that organises everything from card games to day trips to fitness classes. The town hosts an annual arts festival, a traditional music scene in several pubs, and a farmers market that brings local producers together every Saturday. You won't be lonely unless you want to be, and even then, the neighbours will probably check on you. The climate in this part of Ireland is notably drier and sunnier than the west coast. The southeast earns its reputation as the sunny southeast, with average annual rainfall around 800 millimetres compared to 1,200 or more in Galway or Kerry. Graiguenamanagh sits in a sheltered river valley that further moderates the weather, protecting against the winds that can make coastal retirement locations less comfortable than they appear in the brochures. Property availability is good because young people have been leaving for cities, creating opportunities for retirees moving in the opposite direction. The housing stock includes everything from Georgian townhouses to 1970s bungalows to modern builds on the town's edges. Whatever your preference, whatever your budget above that 140,000 average, you'll find options. Number 9, Thomastown, County Kilkenny. Staying in Kilkenny because this county is retirement gold that nobody's discovered, we moved to Thomastown. This is a larger town than Graiguenamanagh, around 2,500 people, with correspondingly more services while retaining that essential small town character that makes retirement actually enjoyable rather than merely affordable. Thomastown sits on the River Nore, another of the great southeast waterways. and the town has oriented itself around that asset beautifully. The riverside park and walks are maintained to a standard you'd expect in a wealthy suburb, but the maintenance is done by a community that genuinely cares rather than by contractors earning municipal fees. The weir creates a constant, pleasant sound that becomes the background music of daily life. Ger Point Abbey lies just outside town, a ruined Cistercian monastery from 1160 that draws enough tourists to support local businesses but not enough to overwhelm the town's character. The abbey is hauntingly beautiful. Its carved cloister pillars featuring knights and saints and dragons that medieval craftsmen created to honor God and impress visitors. You could walk there daily and never tire of discovering new details in the stonework. Property prices in Thomastown average around €160,000, slightly higher than Graignamanagh, but still remarkable value. The premium reflects the larger population and better services, including a wider range of shops, more restaurant options, and a stronger community infrastructure. The town has a health centre, dental practice, veterinary clinic, and multiple churches serving different denominations. The craft culture in Thomastown deserves special mention for retirees interested in staying mentally active. Ger Point Glass, one of Ireland's premier glass-blowing studios, offers workshops where you can learn the craft yourself. The Made in Kilkenny Craft Trail includes several Thomastown artisans working in ceramics, textiles and woodwork. The Design and Crafts Council of Ireland runs programs specifically targeting older participants who want to develop creative skills. You could fill your retirement learning crafts in a place where craft traditions go back centuries. Transport connections from Thomastown are excellent by rural Irish standards. The town sits on the Dublin to Waterford railway line, with multiple daily services in each direction. Dublin is roughly 90 minutes by train, Waterford 30 minutes. Kilkenny City is a 15-minute drive. You're connected without being overwhelmed by connectivity. Healthcare is comprehensive for a town this size. Beyond the local health centre, Thomastown is close enough to both Kilkenny and Waterford hospitals that emergency response times are comparable to urban areas. The town has a strong culture of community health support, with volunteer drivers for medical appointments and a befriending scheme that ensures isolated elderly residents receive regular visits. Number 8. Inistioge, County Kilkenny. If Thomastown sounds too large, too bustling for your retirement vision, let me introduce you to Inistioge. This tiny village of perhaps 300 permanent residents is routinely described as the prettiest in Ireland, and for once the description isn't exaggeration. Inistioge has been used as a film location so often that you've probably seen it without knowing its name. The village clusters around a tree-lined square, proper mature lime trees that create a green canopy in summer and dramatic bare branches in winter. The River Nore runs alongside, crossed by an ancient stone bridge that's become the most photographed bridge in Ireland that isn't in Dublin. Everywhere you look is beauty so perfectly composed, it seems staged, but it's simply the result of centuries of community care. Now, retiring to a village this small requires realistic expectations. Inistioge has a pub, a coffee shop, and a small store. For serious shopping, you'll drive to Thomastown or New Ross or Kilkenny. The medical centre is in Thomastown, 10 minutes away. The village isn't set up for someone who can't or won't drive, but for active retirees who enjoy driving through beautiful countryside for their errands, this isn't a limitation. It's another pleasure. Property in Inistioge is scarce because people who buy here tend not to leave. When houses come on the market, they typically sell quickly to retirees and holiday home buyers, competing for limited stock. Prices range from €170,000 for cottages needing work to $300,000 for move-in ready houses with river views. These prices reflect the village's reputation and desirability, but they remain remarkably affordable compared to famous retirement destinations elsewhere. The walking and outdoor opportunities around Inistioge are exceptional. Woodstock Estate, a former aristocratic domain, lies immediately adjacent to the village. The gardens have been restored and expanded, with walking trails through ancient woodland, formal gardens dating to the 18th century, and viewpoints overlooking the Nore Valley. You could walk different routes through Woodstock every day for a month and still discover new corners. The community in Enistioja is intimate in ways that larger towns can't replicate. The annual Enistiog Festival of Readings brings literary figures to the village each June. The traditional music sessions in the local pub draw players from across the region. The community garden welcomes participation from anyone willing to contribute. In a village this small, everyone knows everyone, which some people find oppressive, but others find deeply comforting. For retirees worried about isolation, Enistioja offers a middle path. You're in a tiny village, yes, but you're 15 minutes from Thomastown, 25 from New Ross, 30 from Kilkenny City. Whilst the isolation is chosen and reversible whenever you want company or services. You can have your peaceful cottage by the river and your city day trip whenever the mood strikes. Number 7. New Ross, County Wexford. Moving into Wexford now, to a town that offers something different from the pretty villages we've covered. New Ross is a proper working town of around 8,000 people, with all the services that implies, but it's been overlooked by retirees who head for more famous destinations. Their oversight is your opportunity. New Ross sits on the River Barrow at the head of navigation, where ocean-going ships once loaded and unloaded cargo that made the town prosperous. The quayside still defines the town's character, with Georgian warehouses converted to apartments and restaurants, while the replica famine ship Dunbrody draws visitors to remember harder times. The blend of history and function creates a town that feels genuine rather than preserved. Property prices in New Ross are astonishingly low for a town with this level of services. The average 3-bedroom house costs around €135,000. Semi-detached homes in good estates go for $120,000. Apartments with river views sell for under $100,000. These prices reflect decades of economic underperformance that kept population and demand low, but the underperformance is the retiree's friend. The services in New Ross are comprehensive. The town has a hospital, St. Luke's General, that provides accident and emergency, maternity, medical, and surgical services. You don't need to drive to a city for healthcare. The town has multiple dental practices, physiotherapists, chiropractors, and alternative health practitioners. The pharmacy options include both chains and independents. Whatever medical needs retirement brings, New Ross can meet them locally. The cultural offerings exceed what you'd expect for a town this size. The Dunbrody famine ship is a genuine tourism asset that brings visitors and the businesses that serve them. The Kennedy homestead, ancestral home of the American presidential family, lies just outside town and draws American visitors year-round. The Rose Tapestry Project created 15 embroidered panels depicting Norman and medieval history, displayed in a dedicated exhibition space. For retirees seeking activity, New Ross delivers. The Sailing Club welcomes new members regardless of experience. The Golf Club offers reasonable membership fees and a well-maintained course. The walking and cycling trails along the river extend for kilometres in both directions. The Active Retirement Ireland branch organises bowls, dancing, exercise classes and social events throughout the week. The transport connections from New Ross include regular bus services to Dublin, Waterford and Wexford town. The train station in Waterford is 40 minutes away. Rosslare Europort, with ferries to France and Wales, is 45 minutes. You could easily use New Ross as a base for European travel, ferrying your car to France for Normandy tours or Welsh castle explorations. Number 6. Ferns, County Wexford. From the bustle of New Ross, we retreat to something smaller and quieter. Ferns was once the capital of Leinster, seat of kings and bishops, but those days are long past. What remains is a village of around 1,000 people surrounded by history, so thick you can practically taste it. The ruins of Ferns Castle dominate the village, a 13th century fortress that housed kings before Cromwell's forces reduced it to its current picturesque decay. St. Aidan's Cathedral, though the current building is 19th century, sits on a site of Christian worship dating to the 6th century. Ferns Abbey ruins add another layer of monastic history. Walking through Ferns is walking through 1,400 years of Irish history compressed into a single village. Property prices here are among the lowest we've covered. The average house in Ferns costs around €110,000. Cottages needing modernisation can be found for under €80,000. Larger houses with gardens for under €150,000. The prices reflect Ferns' size and remoteness from major employment, factors irrelevant to retirees who've left employment behind. The village has essentials, but not luxuries. A small supermarket covers daily shopping. A pub provides social life. A post office handles financial basics. A church provides spiritual needs. For anything beyond these basics, Enniscorthy is 10 minutes away. Wexford town, 30 minutes. The village provides peace and beauty. The larger towns provide everything else. Healthcare in Ferns works through the health centre system, with regular GP clinics in the village and fuller services available in Enniscorthy. The hospital in Wexford town is 35 minutes away. Community nurses visit regularly. The befriending schemes active throughout the county include Ferns. For routine health needs, everything is covered. For emergencies, the response times are acceptable, if not urban fast. Subscribe now to prove these videos actually help and make sense. Or keep researching retirement destinations on websites that want to sell you overpriced property in places everyone already knows about. Your choice entirely. The community spirit in Ferns is exceptional even by Irish standards. The village hosts an annual history weekend celebrating its royal and ecclesiastical past. The local development association runs events throughout the year. The traditional music scene, while small, is authentic and welcoming. You won't find tourist-oriented sessions here. You'll find locals playing for locals. Happy to include anyone who turns up with an instrument or an interest. For retirees interested in history, Ferns is paradise. You could spend years exploring the local archaeology, reading the documented history, walking the landscapes where kings and monks and warriors shaped Irish civilization. The Wexford County Library Service includes a local studies section with resources unavailable anywhere else. You could write the book about Ferns that remains unwritten if retirement gives you that inclination. Number 5. Buncliddy, County Wexford. Buncliddy sits at the foot of Mount Leinster, where Wexford meets Carlow in some of the most beautiful upland country in Ireland. The town straddles the River Slaney, with a long main street lined by the kind of small shops that have disappeared from most Irish towns. This is a market town that still functions as a market town, serving farmers and residents across a wide rural hinterland. The population of around 2,000 gives Bunclody enough people to support genuine services while remaining small enough that community matters. The town has a medical centre with multiple GPs, a pharmacy, a dental practice, a veterinary clinic, and all the professional services a retiree might need. The shopping includes proper butchers and bakers alongside the standard supermarket options. Property prices in Bunclody average around €140,000, with substantial variation depending on location and condition. Houses on the main street, convenient but noisy, cost less than those in quieter residential estates. Properties with mountain views command premiums. Renovation projects for those willing to work offer significant savings. The market has options for every preference and budget. The outdoor activities available from Bunclody exceed most retirement destinations. Mount Leinster rises directly behind the town, accessible by road or by walking trails for those fit enough to climb. The Slaney Valley offers gentler walking along riverside paths. The fishing on the Slaney is famous, with salmon and trout drawing anglers from across Ireland. The hunting continues in traditional fashion for those inclined to country sports. The cultural life centres on the pubs and community centres that serve as gathering places. The traditional music scene is active, with sessions in multiple venues on different nights. The GAA Club provides that peculiarly Irish combination of sport and social life. The Drama Society, the choir, the various charitable organisations all offer ways to engage with community life. Bunclody hasn't been hollowed out by chains and corporations. It's still a functioning Irish town with a functioning Irish community. Transport connections are adequate without being exceptional. Bus services connect Bunclody to Dublin, Wexford, and Carlow. The nearest train station is in Enniscorthy, 25 minutes away. Driving to Dublin takes about 90 minutes depending on traffic, The connections work for occasional trips while encouraging the local focus that makes retirement enjoyable. Number 4. Enniscorthy, County Wexford. We come now to a larger town, the second biggest in Wexford after the county town itself. Enniscorthy has around 12,000 people, proper urban services and amenities, and a history that shaped modern Ireland. This is where the 1898 rebellion reached its bloody climax on Vinegar Hill, an event that echoes through Irish memory and identity. The town rises steeply from the River Slaney, creating a dramatic townscape dominated by the castle that now houses the National 1898 Centre. The narrow streets and tall buildings create an almost continental atmosphere, more Normandy than Ireland in places. Walking through Enniscorthy is constantly interesting, with new perspectives revealing themselves around every corner. Property prices in Enniscorthy offer exceptional value for a town this size. The average house costs around €145,000. Apartments in the town centre sell for under $100,000. Family homes in the suburbs go for $130,000. Compared to any town of equivalent population in the Dublin commuter belt, Enniscorthy is roughly half the price. The healthcare infrastructure is comprehensive. The district hospital provides core services locally. The medical centre has multiple GPs. Specialist services in Waterford and Wexford are both within 30 minutes. The pharmacy options include several independents alongside chains. Whatever your health needs in retirement, Enniscorthy can meet them. The cultural offerings reflect a town comfortable with its history and confident in its present. The annual Strawberry Festival celebrates the soft fruit growing that made the area famous. The Blackstairs Blues Festival brings international acts to venues across the town. The theatre and cinema provide regular entertainment. The restaurant scene has improved dramatically in recent years, offering options from traditional Irish to contemporary international. For retirees seeking urban convenience without urban stress, Enniscorthy offers an ideal balance. You can walk to everything in the town centre. The pace remains distinctly non-metropolitan. The community knows its members without suffocating them. The services meet every reasonable need, and the countryside begins immediately outside town for those days when even small town life feels too crowded. Number 3. Lismore, County Waterford. Now we cross into Waterford, to a town that should be famous but somehow remains relatively unknown. Lismore sits on the River Blackwater, overlooked by a castle that belongs to the Duke of Devonshire and a cathedral that's been a place of worship since St. Carthage founded a monastery here in 636. The combination of natural beauty, historical depth, and practical services makes Lismore almost perfect for retirement. The town is tiny, only about 1,500 people, but it punches far above its weight in character and quality. The main street is lined by Georgian buildings painted in bright colours that catch the light off the river. The Lismore Heritage Centre tells the town's remarkable story, from monastic settlement to medieval importance to aristocratic estate town. Every walk through Lismore is a walk through layers of history. Property prices reflect the town's small size and distance from major employment centres. Green, houses in Lismore average around €150,000, with variation based on condition and location. Properties with river views or castle views command premiums. Renovation projects offer savings for those willing to invest time and effort. The Lismore Castle Gardens are extraordinary, among the finest in Ireland, and residents can purchase annual passes that make regular visits affordable. The gardens combine formal elements dating to the 17th century with more naturalistic woodland areas planted in the Victorian period. In retirement, you could make the gardens your daily destination and never grow bored with their seasonal transformations. Healthcare in Lismore works through the community system with GP clinics in town and fuller services in nearby Cappoquin, Dungarvan and Fermoy. Waterford City, with regional hospital services, is 45 minutes away. Cork is an hour in the other direction. You're central to multiple healthcare catchments, able to access whichever facilities best meet your needs. The community in Lismore is active and welcoming. The farmers' market brings local producers together weekly. The traditional music sessions in local pubs draw players from across the Blackwater Valley. The various community groups organise events throughout the year, from Christmas fairs to summer festivals. For a small town, Lismore offers a remarkably full calendar. Number 2. Dunmore East, County Waterford. Something different now. A coastal retirement haven. Dunmore East is a fishing village turned resort that retains its working character while offering amenities that most fishing villages lack entirely. The village sits on a natural harbour, sheltered by dramatic red sandstone cliffs that create a microclimate noticeably warmer than surrounding areas. The village population is around 1,700, but it swells dramatically in summer when visitors from Waterford and further afield descend on the beaches and harbour. This seasonal variation creates economic opportunities, with the tourism infrastructure supporting restaurants, pubs and shops that a village this size wouldn't otherwise sustain. As a retiree, you benefit from services subsidised by summer visitors while enjoying off-season peace. Property in Dunmore East is more expensive than inland alternatives, reflecting the coastal premium that applies everywhere in Ireland. The average house costs around €190,000. Properties with sea views command significant premiums. Cottages in the village centre sell for more than equivalent homes in newer developments on the edges. But compared to coastal villages elsewhere in Ireland, Dunmore East remains affordable. The beaches are exceptional. A series of coves carved into the sandstone cliffs, with names like Councillor's Strand and Lawler's Beach and Ladies' Cove. The swimming is safe in most conditions, with the harbour providing sheltered water even when the Atlantic is churning. The scenery combines the drama of cliff coastline with the gentleness of sandy beaches. Healthcare access from Dunmore East is excellent. Waterford City, with regional hospital and all specialist services, is only 15 minutes by car. The village itself has a GP clinic. The community nursing services cover the village. For a small coastal settlement, the healthcare access is remarkably comprehensive. The fishing heritage creates a character you won't find in purpose-built retirement communities. The harbour still functions as a working fishing port, with boats going out daily and catches being landed for local restaurants and markets. You can buy fish directly from boats, as fresh as it gets anywhere. The fishermen and their families give the village a rootedness that tourist-only destinations lack. Number 1. Ardmore, County Waterford. And so we arrive at my number 1, the hidden retirement haven I've saved for last because it deserves the honour. Ardmore is a tiny village of around 400 permanent residents perched on a headland where the Celtic Sea meets the Irish coast. It has everything: history, beauty, community, services, and a microclimate so mild that the locals joke about retiring from other parts of Ireland to enjoy the weather. The history of Ardmore begins with St. Declan, who established a monastery here in the 5th century, possibly before St. Patrick arrived in Ireland. The round tower from this monastic settlement still stands, one of the finest preserved in Ireland, alongside cathedral ruins covered in Romanesque carvings that rank among the most important medieval sculptures on the island. Walking the cliff path from the village to the monastic site is walking through 1,500 years of Irish Christian history. The village itself is a single street of colourful buildings descending to a blue flagged beach where the swimming is safe and the views stretch forever. The harbour shelters fishing boats and pleasure craft. The cliffs that bracket the bay provide dramatic walks for those with steady legs. Everything about Ardmore's setting seems designed for retirement contentment. Property prices in Ardmore are higher than inland villages, but justified by the exceptional location. The average house costs around €200,000. Properties with sea views command premiums approaching $250,000. But consider what you're getting: a permanent holiday village with genuine community, mild weather year-round, and scenery that visitors pay hotel rates to experience briefly. The services exceed what the tiny population would suggest. Ardmore has a well-regarded restaurant, The House, that draws diners from across the southeast. It has multiple pubs with different characters. It has a well-stocked shop that covers daily needs. The post office handles financial basics. The community centre hosts events throughout the year. For anything beyond these basics, Dungarvan is 15 minutes away. Healthcare works through the Dungarvan Health Centre and hospital services, supplemented by community nursing visits to the village. The distances are short enough that emergency response times are acceptable. The mild climate arguably contributes to health outcomes. With fewer respiratory issues than damper, colder locations suffer. The community in Ardmore is exceptionally welcoming to retirees, partly because so many of the existing residents are themselves retired and understand the experience. The Active Retirement Group organises regular events. The various committees welcome participation. The pace of village life creates natural opportunities for conversation and connection. You won't be isolated unless you choose isolation. The climate deserves special mention. Ardmore's position on the south coast, combined with the sheltering effect of the headland and the moderating influence of the sea, creates conditions notably milder than most of Ireland. Frost is rare. The growing season is extended. The rainfall, while present, is less than western and northern alternatives. If weather matters to your retirement enjoyment, Ardmore matters to your retirement planning. And there you have it now. 10 retirement havens in the southeast of Ireland that most people have never heard of, each offering something the famous destinations can't match: genuine value, authentic community, and the chance to live beautifully without spending a fortune. Before, subscribe if you like this. I've shown you medieval villages with properties under €150,000, coastal beauty spots where retirees live like holidaymakers year-round, market towns with services that rival small cities at prices that would make Dublin cry. The southeast of Ireland is retirement country, but the secret has somehow stayed secret. The question is what you'll do with this information. Some of you will file it away and return to browsing overpriced apartments in places everyone already knows. That's your choice, and I won't judge you for making the safe decision that everyone else makes. Safety in numbers, as they say, even when the numbers are wrong. But some of you will recognize what I've shown you. You'll understand that retirement isn't about following the crowd to approved destinations where the industry takes its cut from your savings. It's about finding places that fit your life, your budget, your vision of how the final chapters should read. The Southeast has those places, sitting quietly, waiting for people smart enough to discover them. The villages and towns I've described aren't perfect. They have limitations, trade-offs, reasons why they're affordable when other places aren't. But they're real communities where real people live real lives, and they'd welcome you as a neighbor rather than a customer. That distinction matters more than you might think until you've experienced both. I've done what I can. I've named the names, given the prices, explained the advantages. The door is open. Whether you walk through is entirely your own affair. But don't reach 80 and wonder what might have been if you'd listened to that old Irish grandfather who knew a thing or two about hidden places. The Southeast is waiting. The question is whether you're wise enough to accept its invitation.